Don't worry, it's not the dreaded COVID. It's time now for the big question, in which we tackle a major news story of the day. Tonight, we're putting the PM on the spot and asking, does Rishi Sunak make for a good Prime Minister? He has outlived Liz Truss, of course, and he's got lots of challenges ahead, including the Northern Ireland Protocol, a cost of living crisis, a potential winter of discontent. But is he the man to tackle the job? And what is his report card so far? I'm going to have to find the guest details here, and let's have a look. We have Anne Widdecombe, former government minister and Conservative MP for Brentwood and Ongar and Parliamentary Secretary to the Cabinet Office, Alex Burghardt. Alex, welcome to the show. Let me start with you. Is Rishi Sunak a good Prime Minister?
Absolutely. And I think he has the potential to be a really very good Prime Minister indeed. I mean, you've got to remember that there hasn't been a leader in modern times who has come to power with such a range of challenges before them. Yeah, this is a tough hand to be dealt. We've got inflation, small boats, problems with the health service and public services generally. But this man is a problem solver. We absolutely saw that at the height of the pandemic, the way that he and his team put furlough together in the midst of that terrible problem. And I know that he's going to bring that energy and that attitude to bear on the whole of the country, and I think we're going to, in the year to come, we're really going to reap the rewards of having him in charge. Yeah, we saw he very quickly brought the autumn statement out with Jeremy Hunt. The very clear purpose of tackling inflation. Now, this is extremely important, and anyone who had the good fortune to read the piece written by Nigel Lawson in the summer, would have been reminded that in 1981, when Margaret Thatcher and Geoffrey Howe were staring down the barrel of serious inflation, they had a very tough budget. They had a tough budget in which they put up taxes. They were accused by a lot of people of stifling growth. But the consequence was that they managed to bring down inflation, and it meant that at subsequent budgets, Nigel Lawson was able to cut taxes and drive growth, really drive that whole period of growth that we saw right up till 2008. Now, Rishi Sunak, when he was Chancellor, had a picture of Nigel Lawson in his office. He is absolutely aware of the precedents from that period. And he knows that if we want to have good public services, we want to have a strong defence policy, we have to have a strong economy. You can't do that when you have runaway inflation. You just can't do it. So the first thing you have to do is you have to slay that beast, and then you can reap the rewards of it. So he's come to grips with that. We've also seen him on small boats come to a fresh agreement with France in double quick time. We've got additional patrols from the French already. We've seen them put 40% more officers, better technology, and they've allowed for the first time UK enforcement officers to sit as part of their operations. And I know that he and Suella Braverman are going to bust every gut to get on top of this problem. And I think that when he does that as Prime Minister, he will win the confidence of a lot of people who are waiting to see whether he can deliver. And I think that the strong line he's taking on through this winter on industrial action is also extremely necessary. He's been both reasonable and firm, because, again, you can't allow industrial action to lead to much higher inflation. If you do that, you will hold the economy. You will prevent us getting to the point where we can have tax reductions and growth. So I think that he is focusing on the country's priorities. I think he has really good ideas and energy, and I think he's going to prove himself to the British public in the year ahead.
There you go. A glowing report from Alex Burghardt. What's your view, Anne Widdecombe? You've served under several Conservative Prime Ministers. Has this guy got the chops to do a good job?
believe that the jury is very, very out. Now, I expect Conservative MPs to be loyal. Doesn't always happen, of course, but I expect them to be loyal. What I wasn't expecting from somebody who's been asked to give a rational analysis is an absolute hagiography of a prime minister who is supposed to be a Conservative prime minister. He's raised tax to record levels. He is spending, and did throughout the pandemic, at record levels. And instead of focusing on growth, is focusing solely on tax and spend and borrowing. And that is all that he is doing. Now, I want to see some vision. And when we're told about small boats, I mean, I must say I was laughing when we get told that, well, you know, he's got a new agreement with Macron. How many agreements have we had with Macron, Mark? And how many of them have actually produced anything? And the very definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again while expecting a different result. So, you know, and as for tough action with the unions, where's the sign of that? Where is the sign of that? Now, the reason I say the jury is out is I'll give anybody a chance. But, you know, so far, this man has shown no imagination, no vision, no real grip with the problems that are facing us. And yes, it's quite true that inflation is the major economic problem facing us at the moment, as it is facing the rest of the world. You know, we're not alone in this. This isn't a British creation. This is a COVID-Ukraine creation. That is important. And the most important thing you can do to combat inflation is not raise taxes. It's actually to keep wages below the level of inflation so that you don't enter into a wage price spiral like we did in the 1970s. Now, frankly, there's no sign yet that he's got the unions under control.